Welcome everybody to this information session for literacy volunteers, Charlottesville, Albemarle. My name is Stephen Reed. I'm the program manager. My job is all things curriculum. So that's the majority of the work I do. I will help you with any of the questions you have regarding weird grammar and things like that, which English has a lot of weird grammar. So those are the types of things that I work with. I'm also responsible for doing a lot of the volunteer training. And so if you decide to become a volunteer with us and come to a training session, I'm the one who will start that day with you. So today what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time talking about our organization, what we do and who we serve, and then how you can get involved. So our organization is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our job is to help people who are needing to improve their literacy skills or their English language skills. And we do that through inclusive, free, confidential one-on-one tutoring. So all of our students get matched with a volunteer to help them improve their literacy and language skills. Adult literacy is very important because about 48 million Americans cannot read above a third grade level. And this has drastic effects on our country. And the greatest indicator of a child's success in school is the mother's reading level, more so than any other outlying factors such as their socioeconomic class or anything, or their race, ethnicity, anything like that. It's the mother's reading skills that determine a child's success. Only about 53% of immigrants are actually able to speak English at a proficient level. And this has drastic impacts on our economy. If we were able to bring all adults in the US up to a sixth grade reading level, that would add about $2.2 trillion to our annual income in the country. In Charlottesville, we have about 13, almost 14% of our households don't speak English at a high enough level language other than English at home. So our goals as an organization, what we do is we enable adults to reach their potential through literacy. That's our job, to help them build those literacy skills. We also, I work to train, supervise, and support our volunteer tutors, making sure that you have what you need in order to be successful. We also work collaboratively with other community service agencies. I think one of the great things about Charlottesville is that our organizations do work together on lots of projects. We do what we can to improve our community as a whole. And there's a lot of generosity among our organizations, and we work closely together. As a program manager, my job, I am constantly working to evaluate and improve our program to make sure that our services are the highest level they can be. That's what we want. We want our students to make their gains and reach their goals, but we also want our volunteers to experience the best thing that we can make from our organization. We have about 400. I think that last year we were 9. I think this year we're going to come in slightly under that number. We're just now finishing up our fiscal year, which ends on the 30th, and we're going to be right around that 400 mark. So roughly the same as what we saw last year. That is about 3% of our students are basic literacy students. That means they have English as a first language, and they just are not reading at a high enough level. In general, basic literacy means that they are reading below a third or fourth grade level, but they do have English as a first language. And the other 97% of our students are English language learners from about 48 countries, 49 first languages. I tend to use the acronym ESOL as opposed to ESL, English as a second language. I like ESOL better because many of our students come to us speaking 3, 4, even 5 languages. English just isn't one of them. So English as a second language isn't necessarily accurate. And so the ESOL term is a bit more inclusive. So, what languages do you think our students speak? Um, Somebody give me a guess. What do you think is the number one language?
Spanish.
Spanish, yes. Spanish is our number one language. About 33% of our students, a third of our students, are Spanish speakers, followed by Dari, Northern Pashto, Arabic, and Mandarin. Got a nice mix of language families there. So, with that said, what do you think is our number one country?
Mexico.
Any guesses? I'm sorry?
Did you hear me? Mexico?
Mexico is the number two.
Number two.
I will tell you this is a trick question.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is exactly right. Afghanistan is a little more than a third of our students. But with Spanish being our number one language, you'll notice that countries 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all Spanish speaking countries. And if you go through the top 10, there's another 4 Spanish speaking countries in the top 10. So 8 of our 10 countries are, our top 10 countries are Spanish speaking. That's how Spanish becomes the number one language, and at 2 and 3 languages because they have 2 national languages. And so that's how Afghanistan takes first place there. So what it takes to become a student with us is they have this series of steps that they go through. They start with their intake meeting. They come in, they do some paperwork with us, and we do some initial testing, and we learn what we can about them, what their goals are, what they're looking for in this experience, and what they're looking for in a volunteer tutor. And then from there, they will go onto our wait list, and we will start them working on a computer-based learning program or attending conversation groups or citizenship classes, depending on what their individual goals are. And they must do that for at least an hour a week until they are matched with a tutor. Usually that takes somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks. Right now it's taking a little bit longer because I have a lot more students than I have tutors. And so we are desperately in need of more tutors to kind of bring that wait list down. Once they are matched with a tutor, they will then work for at least 2 hours a week. And that can be either in person or online, just depends on what the student and tutor want. Our tutors and students make their own schedules. So we have some who work in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evenings. We have some on the weekends. So the schedule is really built around the tutor and the student. So that flexibility really makes it a lot better for the students because some of their work schedules are fairly tight. As a volunteer, we have a few different options for you for opportunities for volunteering. The vast majority of our volunteers are work in one-on-one instruction. We have a lot of tutors who the only thing they do is they come in and tutor with us. We do have some who work in small group instruction. We have a few groups, our conversation groups, which meet both in person and online. We have some volunteers who work with those. We do have some who work as office assistants, either that's covering our front desk or data entry or filing or things like that. We have one large event each year, that's wordplay. Some of you may be familiar with our trivia contest that is held every spring at the Paramount. That takes a lot of volunteers to get that up and running. And so we have lots of people who volunteer for us with that. And then we also have some committees that we have volunteers on, and our board of directors is also all volunteer. But by far, the number one way people volunteer with us is through one-on-one instruction. There are 4 different types of tutoring that we see here at Literacy Volunteers. As I said earlier, the vast majority are working in English language instruction, helping people who are trying to learn to speak English. Our students range from the absolute lowest level, coming to us with no English language skills at all, up to those who are more advanced and are working in higher level skills, such as reading and writing. We have a new writing class for our upper level students that just started yesterday. they were all excited to get started working in that program. We do have a few students who are working toward getting their high school equivalency. That could be either a GED or some other form of high school diploma. We have a very large, robust citizenship program that helps people who are trying to get their U.S. citizenship, and we help them prepare for the interview exam. And then we have some students who are working in a career training path, whether that's a certified nurse aide, HVAC technician, or other programs based entirely on what the student is looking for. So our students, our tutors last year, we had them, they spent about 190 hours working with our students in the conversation groups. And then we also had about 2,054 hours of remote instruction. So we do have quite a few students who are working on online, still doing their tutoring through Zoom. A lot of times this is just, it's more about scheduling than anything else. Those who are working complicated work schedules, that flexibility that comes along with a Zoom session really is helpful. We also have some of our stay-at-home moms who have little ones at home, and it's just too difficult to work out the logistics of coming into the office. And so they're working online. But that number is much lower than what we see in our in-person tutoring. So about almost 8,000 hours of in-person instruction that we saw last year from our volunteers here. What we ask for our qualifications of our volunteers, you need to be at least 18 years of age. You need to have good reading, writing, and oral communication skills. You need to be an excellent listener. And in this case, you also need to be able to work through accents, which is also a listening skill. You need to have good organization skills because you have to do your lesson planning and such. You need to be patient and flexible. Patience is extremely important when working with an English language learner, because for those who come to us who don't have literacy in their first language and have very low English skills, that is going to be a long process. And you just need to be aware that it's going to take as long as it takes. And that's okay. But just having that patience is going to be very helpful for you. And you will also need to complete a background check. Because we work with a group that is a vulnerable population, we do background checks on all of our volunteers. What we expect from our volunteers is we ask for a 1-year commitment. So you have 12 months of service with us, and that you will attend an initial tutor training. That's going to take about 7 hours of in-person training. We also have about an hour and a half of homework before that training session. And then you'll do another half hour or so match meeting with me as we look for a student from you. So it works out to be about 8 to 8.5 hours of training total in order to get started. And then once you do get started, we ask for 8 hours of tutoring per month, plus about an extra hour of lesson planning. What we find is our volunteers who just get started, they may have more than an hour of their lesson planning as they're getting started. But once they've done this for a bit, then that number starts coming down. And it usually comes down to about half an hour a week for most of our volunteers. And we also require you to submit a monthly progress report. That way we know what's going on in your lessons and with your student. What we provide is all of the textbooks and supplementary resources that you need for your assigned student. We want to make sure that you have all the stuff that you need. We will also do a lot of professional development workshops so that anybody who is needing extra skills, we are here to help support you and help increase your skill set as you are working to become a better volunteer. We also do opportunity. We have quarterly opportunities for you to check in and with other volunteers, other tutors, and with staff members. And then we have a biweekly newsletter that goes out with tutor tips and resources and other helpful information. I know I always get questions about what type of materials you're going to be using. So this is a look at the basic level textbook. We use the Ventures series from Cambridge University Press, and this series goes from basic, which is kind of a level 0 type textbook, up through transitions, which is kind of a level 6 textbook. So everything from people who have no English whatsoever, up to those who are working to transition into some form of secondary or post-secondary education. We also have opportunities to connect with other volunteers. We call them coffees and connections. Those are usually on Saturday mornings where we bring pastries and coffee, and people just get to sit and talk with other volunteers. It's a bit easy to feel a bit siloed in this because you're kind of in working on your own with just your student. You don't get a lot of connection sometimes with other volunteers. So we do what we can to make sure that you have that opportunity as well. We also do some other opportunities for you to learn and improve your skills. We have an annual mini conference, which this year is on June 28th, so it's coming up very soon. We do monthly workshops, either with staff members or other volunteers or with community partners who come in and talk with you about how you can improve your skills. You also have access to presentations from our partner organizations like the Virginia Adult Learning Resource Center and Pro Literacy. As I said earlier, we do require all of our volunteers to go through a full day of training before you get started. During that time, you'll learn things about working with adult learners and lesson planning, working with English language learners, and how you will get started in all of this process. And we just want to make sure that you feel confident and comfortable doing this job. And so we want to make sure that you have what you need to get started. We have a couple of different training options. The main one we do is an in-person session that happens here at the Jefferson School. And that has about an hour and a half of pre-training and then about a 5.5-hour section of in-person, and then another hour in that day, or a half hour in that day for lunch, and then a match meeting that follows up. So 8.5 hours of that. And then we also have a virtual option. I think our next one is scheduled for February 2026. I've got a typo on this slide, and that is 2 Zoom sessions, and that also has some asynchronous work between those. And then again, the match meeting to follow. Our next sessions, we have one on July 26th, August 23rd, September 20th, and October 18th. So those are our next 4. Don't worry about rushing to write these down. I will send you this information in follow-up so that you'll be able to get that. You'll be able to sign in and register for any of those if you are interested.